Hello, welcome to another recipe. So today we're doing a dinner/lunch and we're making a satay tofu burger. So I put it in quotation marks because we're making this with lettuce leaves instead of actual burger buns, and we're using tofu as the patty. So using lettuce and tofu, both of them are obviously, lettuce has no carbs and tofu's really low carb. So altogether, one of these burgers is only about 8 grams of carbs, so that's really good. So we're going to start with marinating the tofu, and then we're going to go and make a satay sauce, which if you've seen my recipe from my stir-fry satay veggies, it's pretty similar to that, just with a couple of changes. And then we're going to top it with some cucumber and tomato and some crispy shallots and some kimchi. So it's a bit of an Asian style sort of burger. First we're going to start with our tofu. So we've just got 1 pack of tofu, which is about 300 grams. So we want to cut it into 4 because this is making 4 serves. So with this shape of tofu, you don't want them like tiny little pieces because it does need to be a burger patty. So I find it best to kind of cut it in half this way and then in half again. Try and get it as even as you can, but it's obviously pretty hard to get it perfect. Right, so there's our burger patties, and now we're going to make the marinade for them to go in. If you want to make this gluten-free, just use a gluten-free soy sauce, which I'm doing at the moment. So we've got 2 tablespoons of soy sauce for the marinade, so just put it in a bowl. You want a bowl that you can kind of fit the tofu in as best you can. It's 1 tablespoon of maple. I use maple because when you cook the tofu, it makes it kind of nice and caramelizing. It just makes it cook really nice, but you can leave it out if you want. If you do leave it out, the maple actually makes up about 50% of the carbs of this meal. So if you do leave it out, you only got about 4 carbs per the burger, but I prefer to leave it in, but up to you. And then we've got a teaspoon of sesame oil. Just a 1/4 teaspoon each of ground ginger and garlic powder. Cool, and then just stir that all together. Just the powder doesn't mix in particularly well, but just as best you can. And now we can add our tofu into the marinade. So you're probably always going to end up with it not coating it perfectly, depending on, unless you've got like a really good bowl, but I don't. Sort of mix it in if you can. Try and just get it as coated as much as you can. You can, if you want, make the marinade and do this and leave it overnight, which just makes the tofu have more time to absorb all of the flavours, but it's perfectly fine if you just do it at this stage as well. If you do it overnight though, it's a good idea to stir it like a couple of times just so it's all kind of coated evenly. So now that we've got our tofu marinating, that can just go in the fridge, and then while that's sitting in the fridge, we're going to move on to making our satay sauce. To make our satay sauce, we're just going to put a pan on a low to medium heat. Just add about a tablespoon of oil. I like to use olive oil, but kind of just use whatever you want. Just guess. Okay, so once the pan's heated up, we can add some shallots and some garlic. So I've already prepared here 1 shallot and 2 cloves of garlic, so they're just diced, so they can go straight on into the pan. And along with the shallots and garlic, at the same time we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of chili flakes. If you like things hotter, you can add more chili flakes, but I'm just going to add 1/4 teaspoon. We're just going to cook that just until the shallots are kind of going translucent and kind of soft. So it will take a few minutes. Okay, so our shallots and garlic and chili flakes are pretty well cooked where we want them to be now. So now we can go ahead and add the next couple of ingredients. So we've got a 1/4 cup of peanut butter here. You can pretty much use any type of peanut butter you like. I'm using smooth. I just think it works better in this sort of satay recipe. And I'm using one with no added sugar. So just go ahead and just chuck that into the pan. And at the same time, we're going to add some soy sauce and some sesame oil. So, soy sauce, we're going to add a tablespoon. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of sesame oil. And then we're basically just going to stir that all together until it's mixed together and the peanut butter's melted. I used quite an oily peanut butter, so it actually didn't take much time at all to melt. But just make sure the soy sauce and the sesame oil and the peanut butter are all nicely mixed together. It won't take long. And once that's pretty well mixed together, then we're going to add some coconut milk. So we've already got just half a cup of coconut milk here. Let's pour that straight on. Then we're going to mix that through just so it combines all together. So it doesn't take that long to make sure everything's combined. So we just want it all mixed in together and it goes kind of thick. So it's kind of like thick and saucy. And once it's like that, then your sauce is done. So we can go ahead and turn that off the heat. You'll also notice we didn't add any salt, and the reason for that is soy sauce has already got quite a lot of salt in it, so we don't need to go and add any more. Okay, so we've got our peanut satay sauce just sitting over here off the heat, and we're swapping that with a new pan, which we're going to use to fry up our shallots. So this one needs to be on a bit of a higher heat so that the shallots go nice and crispy. So we're going to go medium to high heat on that. Again, we're going to chuck in about a tablespoon of oil. And we're going to wait for that to heat up again. Okay, so that's starting to get hot now. And I've already prepared, this is 2 shallots, and it's just sliced thinly. So we're going to go and add that to the pan. And once that goes in the pan, we're just going to add just a sprinkling of salt on top just to help it go crispy. So just kind of guess, just try and get all of the slices with some salt on them. Cool, so we've got some of them starting to brown already, which is great. Just stir them, you know, just so they don't stick, and so they cook evenly. If you see the oil starting to kind of disappear in the pan, then you can just add a little bit more, which I'm going to do. It's almost like deep frying them, but not actually deep frying. So oil is your friend at this moment. Okay, so they're getting quite brown now, some of them. So this is kind of what you want. You want them pretty brown. So I think that those are done, so we can go ahead and take them off. And what you should do is put them on just a paper towel, just so the oil can drain off of them as they're sitting there. I'm just trying to spread them out so they're not all in one big clump on the paper towel, because then the oil will make them go soggy. Cool, so now we've cooked our shallots up and so they're ready to go on top of the burger. We've got our sauce ready to go on the burger. So now it's time to cook our tofu, aka burger patties. So I'm just going to reuse the same pan as I used for the shallots. This can also kind of, probably like medium heat. Not quite as hot as the shallots, but still fairly warm. We'll just chuck in a little bit more oil. Again, once it's heated up, which it looks like it's getting there, we can just go ahead and add our tofu. You can also kind of spoon some of the marinade on top, just a little bit. Cool, and it looks really good, just sizzling away there. So it's just going to take a couple minutes to cook on each side. Okay, so we can see now that it's going kind of brown and caramelizey. Yum. So it looks like they're ready to flip. We'll just cook it a couple more minutes on the other side. Okay, that's done. Look at that. That one looks really good. Yum. Cool. So we can go ahead and turn that off the heat. And that's our last step of things to make to go in the burger. So now we can go ahead and actually build our burger. So we're going to start with some lettuce leaves because they're acting as our bun. So I've just got some baby cos lettuce. And it's already cleaned and everything, so just a couple of leaves of that at the bottom. And then we're going to put on some kimchi. So I'm just using store-bought kimchi, just like a decent spoonful. And the kimchi adds a really nice punch to all of this. And now we can add one of our tofu patties. Cool, so it can just go on top. Yum. On top of that, we will add some of our peanut sauce, which is looking really good. It's nice and thick. So just a decent spoonful. Oops, there's some kimchi in there. Okay, and then we've got some tomato here and some cucumber. So I've just sliced the tomato, and the cucumber I've actually used a vegetable peeler and just gone down the cucumber with a vegetable peeler just to make it nice and thin. So just a slice or two of tomato. Ends up being quite a tall burger. And we've got our crispy shallots that we just fried up too. So then we can just sprinkle some of them on top. That's kind of it, and now we just need to top it with another lettuce leaf or two for the top of the burger. And there we go. You do need a knife and fork to eat this. It's obviously not a pick up and eat burger. You will need a knife and fork, which is why I said burger at the beginning. But yeah, so as I said, really nice and healthy, really tasty, lots of different textures in there, and yeah, enjoy. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram and Pinterest, and go and have a look at my blog on my website as well. Cool, thanks for watching.